Hello everybody, Christian alongside Mitchell, Alex and Charlie here in Ottawa, getting you set for the CPL final on Sunday. Now before we get into this, a lot of question marks around the capital here. Who are the favourites for this game? Some interesting comments from the coaches earlier on Saturday.
I'm not considering the team favourite, not at all. I think that we have a great team. We are in options to win the final. I'm 100% thinking of that. But the reality is that we are playing against probably the best team of the CPL. Forge has played the last 4 finals. They've won 2. They've lost the last one. So I think there is only one favorite. They have the pressure to win. We have the desire to win. I think this is the difference.
I think pressure is. I'm going to say something that's maybe it's a little funny here, but we've got 2 North Star Shields back at home. I can go to sleep easy at night, and so can a lot of the players. So the pressure, there's nothing. Pressure is maybe playing in the Azteca. These are games that you come out and enjoy. This team's playing in their 4th final. We've played in a lot of big matches, so we're coming out here and to enjoy the game. They're the ones that are playing in front of a big crowd, which I hope it's what the numbers are looking like, and if they can be even larger, even better. But they're the ones that are going to have to come out and play some football and entertain all these fans that are coming out there, so that they can keep coming out.
Okay, gentlemen, that was pretty fascinating, was it not? Charlie, you got a smile on your face. Let's start with you. What did you take from that? Mind games? Do we take these guys seriously? What do you think?
I think there's definitely a little bit of mind games going whenever you have a final and 2 coaches who obviously have to give their official pre-game remarks. They're going to be listening to each other. Absolutely. Carlos Gonzalez is going to be listening to what Bobby Smirniota said. Try to find any sort of hint he can about the way they're going to play. Both of them just trying to push the buck a little bit, put the pressure on the other guy. And I think realistically, there's a different kind of pressure on both teams, right? Ottawa playing at home in their stadium. They know what their home record is. It's not great. They know what their record against Forge is. It's tough. There's pressure on them to come out and perform. Forge don't want to be a team that loses 2 finals in a row, though.
No.
So I think there's definitely pressure on them to, prove that they are the team that belongs in 4 straight finals and, is going to win 3 out of 4. So I think there's pressure on both teams here.
AJR, apart from thinking about Bobby Smirniota sleeping with his shields, what else did you take from this?
Yeah, certainly that was quite the comment there from Bobby, but I feel like that kind of reflects Forge. There is a calm nature about them because, obviously it hurt to lose last year, but this is a team that has been in this sort of situation before. So I do believe them when they say that the pressure is on Ottawa, because there's going to be a big crowd. Ottawa, they've won the regular season. They've been the best team in the league this year. This is their first time in that occasion. But at the same time, you have to give credit to Ottawa as well. They look like a team that's ready for this. They prepared. They keep saying how every game is a final. And this is a chance to prove that preparation they've had since day one. They referenced a lot of day one, those 30 days in Spain, where they've come from. So they've been preparing this since day one.
That's a great point. Mitch, what about that with Carlos Gonzalez? Because Ottawa have been confident on the front foot the whole time, and he had a chance to come out and say, why not? We are the favourites. But he didn't. Were you surprised about that?
Not particularly. I don't think you ever want to put extra pressure on yourself heading into a final. And with that being said, though, Ottawa has been good under pressure all year. I mean, on the field, they're a team that welcomes that pressure. So we'll see if that's what they do again on Sunday.
Let's break down these 2 teams then. So if we were sitting here after the final, standing here in Ottawa after the final, and Atletico Ottawa had won this game, who needs to have a big game? AJ, I'll go to you first. Who needs to have a big game for the hosts here?
I'm going to go Maxime Tissot, the hometown guy. He referenced that today in the press conference, how happy he was to play this game in a city that means so much to him. He's going to have his hands full on that right side. Last week, Cavalry weren't able to cope with what David Chouanière and Rezert Rama were able to do. So I think Maxime Tissot has a tall task defensively, just having to deal with those 2 guys, but also going forward. Rama, he was on the edge last week. So if you're Tissot, you have to find a way to get him to teeter slightly over that edge. So he's going to have his hands full, and I think he's going to be someone that's key.
Knows what it's like to win a final, obviously, with Forge in 2020. Charlie, what about you for Ottawa?
I'm going to go with Abdou Sissoko. I think we're going to talk about the midfield from Forge's perspective in a little bit, but a lot of this game is going to be played in those areas, in those central areas. Abdou Sissoko is one of the most experienced players that Ottawa have. He's played in finals before. He won the Turkish Cup, I believe, a few years ago. He's got that experience, got that quality, and I think Ottawa might end up having more of the ball than they expect. Obviously in his own pre-match conference, Bobby Smirniota referenced that Halifax final that Maxime Tissot scored in, and reminded us all that they gave Halifax the ball and told them to do something with it.
Yes.
I wouldn't be surprised if we see that again. So if we see Ottawa's midfield having to play on the ball, then it's going to be important that Sissoko is able to win it when they need to, and that he's able to play it up to those dangerous areas.
Mitch?
I'll go the obvious answer. I'll go Balou Tabla. You need a moment of magic in a final, and Balou Tabla is the most likely player to provide it for Ottawa, I think.
Yeah, so nobody said Ollie Bassett, who last on Friday night won both Player of the Year and Players Player of the Year. So I will mention him. I think obviously him keeping the ball when they win the ball back is going to be very important. We think Forge are going to dominate the possession here, even if it's 55, 60%. When you get the ball, what Atletico Ottawa have done all season is they've been very, very accurate and very quick in those transitions with playing that ball forward. Look for Nate Ingham as well. He's going to have a massive game for them, no pun intended. Let's go back to you, Mitchell, for Forge. If Forge are going to win this and make it 3 out of 4, who stands out for you?
I'll go for the antithesis of Balou Tabla, who I picked, and that's Daniel Crutzen, a player who hasn't played in this fixture yet this year, and a player who's going to be key to stepping up to those guys, maybe even if they have the ball, keeping eyes on them at all times, and also a player who's important for moving the ball forward and in transition and beating that Ottawa low block from the back, and you really need that from your defenders in a game like this.
Yeah, great point. Arguably the best defender in the league when healthy. Will only be playing his 4th game of the season, likely captain as well, obviously with the absence of Kyle Becker being suspended. What about you, Alex?
I'm going to go with Boubacar Sissoko, just like we know with Bobby Smirnotis. He's a Guardiola disciple in a sense. We might not see him in skinny jeans and the fancy sweater tomorrow, but he's going to want to dominate the midfield. And with no Kyle Becker, that puts a lot of the load on Boubacar Sissoko, who's been fantastic lately since shifting back to his natural position. I think in this midfield battle, it's going to be tight. Ottawa's committing to that strong mid-block. Drew Becky referenced it today. I think Boubacar Sissoko is going to have to be calm and precise on the ball, picking out those lines, because his final pass, that pass he can make before the final pass, can really be the difference in moving Ottawa around and breaking those spaces.
He's been immense all year, no doubt about it. Another 2020 finalist as well. Charlie?
Yeah, I mean, that midfield battle obviously very important. I wonder if we see Noah Jensen in the side, just in Kyle Becker's role to kind of make sure that the rest of the squad isn't changed. But the guy I'm going to go with is Wubens Passius, because we've seen Forge in last year's final how they didn't finish their chances, right? They certainly had moments where they could have taken a lead, especially in the first half of that game. And in a final where you might not get a lot of chances, you need a guy who's sharp, who's in form and confident enough to put the ball in the net. Passius obviously scored in both legs of the semifinals.
Yeah, well, whether you planned it or not, you've covered defence, midfield and forward, so I'll end with Tristan Henry, a big game player, knows what it's like going for his obviously 3rd championship, obviously one of the originals as well. Forge, 4 finalists, obviously 4 different years in 4 different stadiums against 4 different teams. Pretty special for them, and of course Atletico Ottawa, they get to debut themselves in a final, going for the double, 6 o'clock Eastern on Sunday, live on OneSoccer. We'll all be there. Join us as well.